Have you ever noticed how worry eats away at you like fire consumes dry wood? You sit there replaying the same thoughts in your mind, asking yourself, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? And yet in the very moment you're drowning in these fears, Allah already knows exactly how your story will unfold. He has already written the outcome. He has already placed ease after your difficulty. But the problem is not Allah's plan. The problem is your heart refusing to trust the one who controls tomorrow. Worry is nothing but your soul trying to take control of something that was never yours in the first place. And that is why it leaves you restless, sleepless, and hopeless. But the moment you hand it back to Allah, the chains of fear break and life starts to breathe again. The truth is, nothing you are worried about is hidden from Allah. He knows the pain that keeps you awake at night, the fear that steals your appetite, the heartbreak you bury behind fake smiles. But what you don't see is the unseen wisdom wrapped in your trials. Allah does not let anything touch you except that it carries a lesson, a purification, or a preparation. Sometimes the delays you worry about are not rejections, they are redirections. Sometimes the closed doors are not punishments, they are protection. And sometimes the very thing you are crying over is the thing Allah is removing so He can replace it with something beyond your imagination. So why then do you destroy your peace over what Allah has already promised to take care of? Think about it. Hasn't Allah taken care of you before? Didn't He save you from hardships you thought would end you? Didn't He provide when you were certain you had no way out? Didn't He heal wounds you thought would never close? And yet here you are, alive, breathing, standing. That is proof enough that His plan is always greater than your worry. Because worry lies to you, but Allah's decree never does. Worry tells you you can't survive this, but Allah tells you, I am with you. Worry tells you, oh, the future is scary, but Allah tells you, the future is already written. I am the best of planners. Life will never stop throwing reasons for you to worry. People will leave. Wealth will fluctuate. Health will decline. Opportunities will slip away. But none of those things were ever meant to be your anchor. Your anchor is Allah, and when your heart holds on to Him, even the storm feels like a gentle breeze. You realize how much peace enters your life when you stop asking what if. And start saying, Allah knows. That shift alone is the difference between a restless heart and a heart that beats with tranquility. Sometimes Allah delays because your heart is not ready. Sometimes He withholds because what you are asking for would harm you more than help you. And sometimes He gives you exactly what you want, but at a time when you will appreciate it the most. Every worry you carry is actually an invitation to trust Him deeper. Every unanswered prayer is an opportunity to surrender your timeline for His. Every test is a reminder that your control is limited, but His mercy is limitless. And until you believe that, you will keep suffocating under the weight of what was never yours to carry. Do you see how people around you live their lives? Everyone is racing, chasing, running after careers, money, relationships, achievements. Yet even after gaining them, their hearts are restless. Why? Because they worry about losing them. But the believer who trusts Allah is different. He walks through life with a calm spirit. Even when he is broke, he knows the provider will open doors. Even when he is alone, he knows Allah is near. Even when he is broken, he knows Allah heals. And even when everything seems against him, he knows Allah's plan is unfolding in silence. That is the power of Tawakkul, the trust that transforms storms into calm seas. When you keep worrying, you are in fact accusing Allah of not taking care of you. You are saying, Ya Allah, I don't think you will handle this. But when you let go of worry and surrender, you are testifying, Ya Allah, you are enough for me. And Allah responds to those who rely upon Him. He says in the Quran, whoever puts their trust in Allah, He is sufficient for them. Imagine that Allah Himself becomes sufficient for you. What problem, what fear, what heartbreak can overpower the one who owns the heavens and the earth when He decides to be enough for you? So stop worrying about what you cannot control. Stop worrying about tomorrow when tomorrow belongs to Allah. Stop worrying about people's opinions when people cannot even control their own destiny. Stop worrying about failure when Allah is the one who turns failures into breakthroughs. Stop worrying about what is gone, because if it was meant for you, it would have never left. And stop worrying about what hasn't arrived yet, because Allah is preparing it in ways you cannot see. Your soul was not created to live in anxiety. It was created to live in remembrance of its Lord. Every moment you waste in worry is a moment you could have spent in deed or in prayer. in gratitude, in hope. And that is why the Prophet letter FTF told us, if you rely on Allah as you ought to rely on Him, He would provide for you as He provides for the birds. They leave their nests hungry in the morning and return full in the evening. Do birds worry? Do they lose sleep? Do they panic about tomorrow? No, they trust the one who provides and He never fails them. Are you not more valuable to Allah than a bird? The reason you are exhausted is because you are fighting battles that belong to Allah. You are trying to control outcomes you cannot control. You are trying to open doors that Allah has closed for your protection. You are trying to predict futures that Allah has already written. And that is why worry crushes you. It is the burden of playing God with your life when you are not God. You are His servant. And servants do not need to know every detail, they just need to trust their master. That is where peace is born. Even when your heart breaks, even when you lose something precious, even when you feel abandoned, Allah's plan is still flawless. He never allows something to leave your life unless He is preparing to replace it with something better. But sometimes the better is not in this world, it is in your akhirah. Sometimes the unanswered dua in this dunya becomes a mountain of reward in the next. Sometimes the pain you carry here becomes the very thing that raises your rank in Jannah. And when you see that, you will realize there was never a reason to worry at all. So the next time your chest feels heavy with fear, pause and remind yourself, Allah is the planner and Allah is the protector. Allah is the healer and Allah is the provider. Allah is the turner of hearts and Allah is the answerer of prayers. Nothing slips through His control, nothing surprises Him. Nothing confuses Him. What confuses you is already clear to Him. What hurts you is already measured by Him, and what you are waiting for is already prepared by Him. If you knew what Allah has planned for you, you would never cry over what you lost, and you would never worry about what is to come. Stop worrying, because the same Allah who split the sea for Musa when there was no escape, the same Allah who saved Ibrahim from the fire that was supposed to burn him alive, the same Allah who brought Yusuf out of a prison cell and raised him to rule Egypt, that same Allah is the one writing your story right now. Do you really think He forgot you? Do you really think your pain slipped past His knowledge? Do you really think your situation is too complicated for the one who creates galaxies with a word? Your worry makes your problem look bigger than it is, but faith makes your Lord look greater than everything combined. And when you finally stop staring at the size of your trial and start staring at the greatness of Allah, you will breathe again. Look at the story of Yusuf. Betrayed by his brothers, thrown in a well, sold as a slave, falsely accused, imprisoned for years. If Yusuf had given in to worry, his heart would have drowned in despair. But every single one of those moments was Allah's plan. The betrayal was a step toward Egypt. The prison was a step toward the palace. The waiting was a step toward the fulfillment of his dream. Yusuf didn't see the wisdom while he was living it, but he trusted the planner. And when the plan unfolded, it was more beautiful than anything he could have imagined. Now ask yourself, isn't your Lord the same Lord? If He could take Yusuf from a dark well to a throne, can He not take you from your pain to your breakthrough? And then there's Musa standing with his people at the shore. Behind him, Pharaoh's army with swords and chariots. In front of him, an endless sea. To any human eye, it looked hopeless. People panicked. People screamed. People worried, saying, "We are surely going to be overtaken." But what did Musa say? With complete faith, without a shred of worry, he declared, "Indeed, my Lord is with me, and He will guide me." And in that moment, Allah commanded the sea to split, and a path opened where no path existed. Understand this. When you stop worrying and declare with certainty, "Allah is with me," seas will split for you too. Not seas of water, but seas of fear, seas of debt, seas of heartbreak, seas of uncertainty. Allah will make a way where no way seems possible. Think about Ibrahim, tied up and thrown into a fire so massive that people could feel its heat from far away. Any normal person would worry about death, about burning alive. But Ibrahim did not. His heart was calm because he knew Allah was in control. And in that very instant, Allah commanded the fire, "Be cool and safe for Ibrahim." The fire that was supposed to kill him became comfort. This is what happens when you stop worrying. Your fire turns into safety, your pain turns into peace, your trial turns into triumph. Worry doesn't save you, but Allah does. And His plan is always beyond your imagination. Even our beloved Prophet Muhammad lived through situations that could have broken anyone with worry. He was driven out of Makkah, chased by his enemies, forced to hide in a cave with Abu Bakr. The enemy soldiers were so close that Abu Bakr whispered, "If they look down, they will see us." Anyone else would have panicked. Anyone else would have been consumed by worry. But what did the Prophet say with complete calmness? "Do not worry, indeed Allah is with us." And Allah did protect them. The soldiers turned away. The cave remained hidden. And Islam grew into the greatest light this world has ever known. So if Rasulullah could teach us one thing about worry, it is this: when Allah is with you, what reason do you have to fear? Your problem might look big, but compare it to Allah's power and it is nothing. Your heart might feel heavy, but place it in Allah's hands and it will become light. You might think you are running out of time, but Allah is the Lord of time. You might think your chance is gone, but Allah is the one who brings the dead back to life. If He can bring life to barren land after years of drought, can He not bring new beginnings after your heartbreak? If He can send provision to Maryam in her chamber without her lifting a finger, can He not send provision to you in ways you cannot imagine? If He can feed a baby Ismail in the middle of a desert by bringing out the well of Zamzam, can He not feed you in your emptiness? So stop worrying, because your story is written by the same author of every miracle you've ever read. Do you see now how your worry robs you of faith? Every second you spend drowning in what ifs is a second you could have spent in Alhamdulillah. Every minute you spend in fear is a minute you could have spent in dhikr. Worry ties you to the ground, but faith lifts you to the sky. And the sky is where dears are answered. The sky is where mercy descends. The sky is where angels write down your patience and your trust. Allah does not ask you to figure everything out. He only asks you to trust Him, obey Him, and keep your heart connected to Him. That is enough. And when Allah is enough for you, worry will no longer own you. Worry is like a thief that sneaks into your heart and steals your present moment. You could be sitting with your family, but instead of enjoying their company, you are lost in a "what if I lose them?" You could be eating your food, but instead of tasting it, you are thinking, "Oh, what if I can't afford this tomorrow?" You could be praying, but instead of focusing on Allah, your mind is chained to your problems. And that is why the Prophet foretold us not to live in worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow has not arrived yet, and today is enough of a burden. The only way to free yourself from this thief is to hand your heart back to Allah and say, "Ya Allah, you take care of it. I trust you." The moment you say this sincerely, the thief leaves and peace comes rushing back. Sometimes Allah allows your worry to grow so that you finally surrender it to Him. Imagine someone holding onto a rope with all their strength, their hands bleeding, their body shaking, yet they refuse to let go. That is what you do with your worries. You grip them so tightly, thinking if you don't, everything will collapse. But Allah allows the pain to increase until your hands give up, and only then do you release it. And the moment you release it, Allah catches it. He was waiting all along for you to let go. Your worry is not proof that Allah has abandoned you. It is proof that He is calling you closer, teaching you to rely only on Him, not on yourself, not on people, not on plans. Think of Maryam, alone under the palm tree in the agony of childbirth. She was in pain, terrified, with no husband, no helper, no one to support her. Anyone in her place would be drowned in worry. How will I survive? What will people say? How will I raise this child? But Allah told her, "Do not grieve." Allah told her to shake the trunk of the palm tree, and fresh dates fell for her. Allah made a stream flow at her feet. Allah provided for her in the most vulnerable moment of her life. Do you see? Even when you are alone, even when you feel abandoned, even when you think nobody understands, Allah is enough. He will send what you need at the exact moment you need it. He will feed you in your hunger, clothe you in your exposure, strengthen you in your weakness, and comfort you in your fear. Stop worrying, because Allah already knows what you need before you ask. Sometimes what you are worried about is the very thing that will save you. Yusuf was worried when he was thrown in the well, but that well was the doorway to Egypt. Musa's mother was worried when she placed him in a basket and let him float on the Nile, but that basket was the path to his safety and his future. You might be worried about losing your job, but maybe that job was blocking you from the one Allah truly wants for you. You might be worried about a relationship ending, but maybe that ending is the beginning of your healing. You might be worried about being delayed, but maybe that delay is Allah's way of preparing you for something far beyond your imagination. Worry only shows you the surface. Allah's plan shows you the truth. And do not forget, your worry is temporary, but Allah's promise is eternal. The pain you feel will not last forever, but the reward for your patience will. The uncertainty you fear is only for a season, but the certainty of Allah's mercy is forever. Even if your entire life feels heavy with worry, when you meet Allah and see what He has stored for you in Jannah, you will say, it was worth it. You will look back and laugh at the things you cried over. You will realize that every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered dua was Allah writing a better ending for you. If you knew what Allah knows, you would thank Him for every closed door, every loss, every rejection. So stop worrying, because one day you will see the wisdom, and on that day you will wish you had trusted Him more. Worry convinces you that you are weak, but faith reminds you that Allah is strong. Worry tells you that you are alone, but faith whispers that Allah is closer than your jugular vein. Worry paints your future in dark colors, but faith fills it with the light of Allah's mercy. Which voice will you choose to believe? If you let worry lead, you will always live in fear. But if you let faith lead, you will walk through fire and not be burned. You will stand in front of mountains and they will crumble before you. You will step into storms and the waves will carry you safely to shore. Why? Because Allah is not only the best of planners, He is also the best of protectors, the best of providers. Whoever relies on Him has nothing to fear. Think about the people of the cave, the young men who fled from their people to preserve their faith. They could have worried about where they would sleep, how they would eat, how they would survive, but instead they turned to Allah and said, "Our Lord, grant us mercy from yourself and guide us in our affair." They placed their future in His hands, and what did Allah do? He placed them in a deep sleep that lasted centuries, preserving them in the most miraculous way. Their worry could not have saved them, but their trust in Allah wrote their story in the Quran forever. Your story may not be written in a holy book, but it is written by the same author. And when you put your trust in Him, He will preserve you in ways you cannot imagine. Sometimes you think your worry is about survival, but the truth is you are already being carried. Look at the child in the womb. Does the child worry about food, about air, about shelter? No, the child is nourished and protected without lifting a finger. And when that child is born, who gives milk to the mother? Who softens her heart to care for the baby? Allah. You began your life in the womb with no worry, fully dependent on Him. What makes you think now as an adult that your provision is in your hands? You have never provided for yourself. You only walk toward what Allah has already written. So why carry the crushing weight of worry when the one who sustained you before you could even breathe is still sustaining you now? And remember, worry does not change qadar. What Allah has written will reach you whether you worry or not. If something is destined for you, it will come. If something is not destined for you, it will never come, even if the entire world tried to deliver it to you. The Prophet Letrifid told us, know that if the whole nation were to gather to benefit you with something, they would not benefit you except with what Allah has already written for you. And if they were to gather to harm you, they would not harm you except with what Allah has already written against you. If this is the reality, then what is the point of worry? It does not bring you closer to your destiny. It only makes the journey heavier. Look at Hajar running between the hills of Safa and Marwa, desperate for water for her baby Ismail. She could have collapsed in worry and despair, but instead she took action while trusting Allah. And in that trust, Allah opened Zamzam, a spring that has been flowing for thousands of years and continues to quench millions of people today. A worry did not open Zamzam, but Tawakkul did. The water did not come from her fear, it came from her trust. Do you see the difference? Worry exhausts you, but trust sustains you. Worry dries your heart, but trust opens rivers where none exist. Allah is teaching you through her story. Do your part, but don't carry the burden. Leave the outcome to Him. Sometimes Allah will strip everything away so that you realize worry was always useless. He will close every door, cut off every plan, remove every support until the only thing left is Him. And in that moment, when you finally say, Ya Allah, I cannot do this without you, you will feel a relief that worry could never give. Because that is what He wanted for you, to come back to Him, to realize He was enough all along. Worry distracts you from this truth, but hardship pushes you toward it. So when life feels unbearable, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, what is Allah trying to teach me through this? What blessing is hidden here? And the moment you ask that, your worry transforms into wisdom. Every time you choose worry over trust, you are handing your heart to Shaitan. Because Shaitan loves to whisper, what if? What if you fail? What if you lose? What if you end up alone? What if Allah doesn't answer? He poisons your heart with these doubts so that you forget the countless times Allah already carried you. He wants you paralyzed, doubting, restless. But the believer silences those whispers with a single truth. Allah is enough for me. The moment you declare that, the whispers lose their power, the chains of fear break, and your heart returns to its rightful owner. Worry is Shaitan's weapon, but Tawakkul is your shield. And whoever holds the shield of Tawakkul is untouchable. Do you remember how many nights you worried, thinking you wouldn't make it through? And yet here you are. Do you remember the times you cried, convinced that life was over, yet Allah revived you? Do you remember the situations you thought had no way out, yet somehow a door opened? That is your proof. Worry has never saved you, not once. Allah has saved you every single time. He has carried you through storms you didn't even know you were in. He has written for you relief before the pain even reached you. So stop worrying about tomorrow when today is proof enough of His mercy. Sometimes Allah hides His plan because your heart could not handle it if you saw it too soon. Imagine if Yusuf knew while sitting in the well that one day he would become a ruler. He might have doubted, he might have thought it impossible, but by revealing it step by step, Allah trained his heart to trust. The same is true for you. If you saw the ending now, you might not believe it. So Allah covers it in mystery, allowing you to learn trust in the process. Worry comes from wanting to see the ending, but faith is living in peace with the unknown, knowing the author of your story is the most merciful, the most wise. When you choose trust, something miraculous happens. Your body feels lighter, your mind grows clearer, your chest expands with ease. The Quran describes it beautifully. Is it not with the remembrance of Allah that hearts find rest? Rest is the opposite to worry. Rest is what you crave at night when your thoughts